Every day, millions of new books are printed and added to bookshelves around the world. But have you ever stopped to think about the process that leads to all of this new material? There are two main ways to publish: traditional publishing and self-publishing. A variety of authors have done both options. Traditional publishing is when an author uses a company to publish their book. Self-publishing is when an author publishes their own book. So is one better than the other? Mrs. Wade, author of A Place for Pluto and The Very Last Leaf, will speak about her experience with a traditional publishing company.
My name is Steph Wade, and I am a children's book author. Most of the time when you have a traditional publisher, you need an agent first. And finding an agent can take a really long time. For me, it took almost 3 years to get an agent. A lot of traditional publishing companies will not accept submissions of a book unless they come from an agent. So it took 3 years for me to get my agent, and then it was another 2 years almost until I actually signed A Place for Pluto. The editor had it for almost a year before they said yes. So it was really long. And then once you sign, it takes usually like another year, sometimes 2, sometimes longer for the book to come out. So it's a really long process. So I think the hardest part is just really the waiting for it. And so waiting for an agent. And then everything takes time because everybody has to read everything. You might hear something like, "Oh, we're interested," and so then you're like, "Oh, yes, maybe," and then you wait and wait and wait again. The other part is just like the rejection that you get. You have to get pretty tough skin because you are constantly rejected, and it just becomes part of something you get used to. For me, it would be more difficult. But when you self-publish, everything is up to you. I would rather spend time actually writing. And so I think, for me personally, I think it would be harder. And people's answers are always different. So I think if you really want writing to be your career, then I would suggest going a traditional route. The problem with the traditional route is it's not guaranteed in any way. So if you're self-publishing, it's guaranteed that you're going to have a book. The benefits are huge. The benefits are definitely, it gets your foot in the door. It takes a lot of time to try to get your foot in the door at a lot of places. So like you can get, if it's a self-published book, you can get your book in a Barnes & Noble, but most of the time it won't go to like all of the Barnes & Nobles. It'll go to the ones that you've talked to or that you have a relationship with. There's I guess like prestige a little bit to a lot of that. And so when you can get in with that, it's just easier to get your name out there. And I would say, the staff for marketing things as well. I would say that your reach is a lot farther. And one of the other big things is the experience that you get from it. Yes, I would definitely go this way. I'm really glad I did.
Mrs. Swenson, author of If You Were a Dog, Big Rig, Fall, Ball for All, and more, will also speak about her experience with a traditional publishing company.
So I'm Jamie Swenson, and I am a children's author, and I am also a librarian at a public library. I think the most stressful part is when you are working so hard and you know that you're doing your best, and you're sending books out across, all over the place, and you keep getting rejections. You have the choice of quitting, or you could keep trying. I think that traditional publishing is very hard in terms of, like I said, you can be writing an amazing book and it has to find the right home, and that can just take a really long time. Or perhaps you will never, ever find a publisher. Someone who is self-publishing, they don't have to wait. They can just write something. They can have it published the next day if they want. But the difference is they have to do everything themselves. So I don't know which is harder. I think that they both have challenges. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, do you want to back it financially? The second thing you have to ask yourself is, how much time do you have? So I guess that's kind of what you have to ask yourself. So I'd say the drawback for traditional publishing is you don't get to make all the choices yourself. I can draw stick figures, and I would not have been able to find these amazing illustrators, right? That's one of the benefits, is that somebody else who's much more creative that way was able to help me. But the other thing I never had to think about, eventually I got books that were published in different languages. They were sold through different languages. They were sold all over the world. Absolutely for me. Not for everybody, but for me, absolutely.
So which type of publishing is better? Do you have an opinion on this topic? There are pros and cons to both traditional publishing and self-publishing. Does one seem better than the other?